And over the past month, we've seen an uptick in shootings involving teenagers all across the Susquehanna Valley, some of them deadly, like in York City's Penn Park, and just last week when a student was killed while getting off the school bus in Harrisburg.
And for those who witnessed the violence, many might still be trying to process the trauma, but how can they begin to heal? Well, we're joined live by Dr. Ramnarine Boodoo, who is a child and adolescent psychiatrist with Penn State Health. Doctor, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Yeah, so let's start with what happened on Friday in Harrisburg. So a group of Harrisburg high school students, they watched, unfortunately, as their classmate was shot and killed right in front of them. So when a child or a teenager sees this kind of deadly shooting, what are the first emotional reactions families should expect, and what should parents do first?
Sure. So when something like this happens, especially to a child, a young person, the emotions are what you would expect. Significant fear, anger, grief, sadness. And so as a parent, a caregiver, the first thing you want to do is talk to your child. Make sure that your child is safe. Set the scene. Make sure that you're in a place where you can have an honest conversation, where your child feels comfortable talking to you, where they can share the emotions related to what happened, where they can essentially debrief the incident, where if they want to, they can tell you how close they were to the actual shooting, what was happening at the time, what they were feeling, what happened afterwards, and they can share things like their concerns for the future, how they feel now, whether they don't want to go to school anymore, whether they feel unsafe if they were to go back, whether they feel like they might be a target, and so on. Talk to your child. And the other golden rule here is, if you think things are going downhill, ask for help.
So let's dig deep into that, because you talk about talking to your children, and I know everything is subjective, but how can parents properly address those difficult questions when they come up? Do you have any tips and tricks for that?
The simple mnemonic that I like to use, it's called SADOR, SADOAR. And if you want to talk to your child, first set the scene, S. Go to a place where the child feels comfortable, you feel comfortable, where you won't be interrupted, somewhere that's calming. Next, ask questions. Ask the child about what they experienced, how they've been doing, how they've been feeling. Then the D, discuss. Discuss the emotions, discuss what happened. If you're feeling yourself out of your depth, ask for help. Bring in family members, bring in members of your community, your religious supports that can be helpful. And next is overwhelm, as in don't do it. Don't overwhelm the child. Don't ask them to describe things in minute detail if clearly they're becoming uncomfortable with that. Then answer any questions the child might have. And finally, reassure the child. Say that yes, bad things do happen. There are bad people in this world. Depending on the age of the child, if the child is older, more mature, you might say yes. These are things that do happen. There are people with firearms out there, people who are intent on doing harm to others. But we can't allow ourselves to live in a box. We cannot let incidents like this prevent us from living a full life. And let the child know, above all else, that you as the caregiver are there for them no matter what happens.
Yeah, and doctor, these are great tips to have open communication with your kids. What should parents avoid? What mistakes should they avoid?
Sure. So one of the key issues that I hear about is parents saying it's okay, they'll get over it, they just need time. I would be very wary of doing that right after something like this happens. It's always better to ask first, find out where the child's head is at, what their emotional needs are, versus saying, oh, they need space, I'm just going to leave them be. Ask, and if the child says, hey, I'm not ready to do this right now, then it's okay to back off. But come back later on, come back after a few days and say, hey, can we talk about this? It won't take long. I just need to know that you're okay. And so don't be too hands off, but don't smother the child. Gently, tentatively ask, find out. Definitely don't just drop it.
All right, Dr. Boodoo, thank you so much for your advice and insight. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you.